So then that goes into SupraSexual Coupling. What happens when you're in a couple? And I won't go into that in too much depth now, but just a few wonderful insights, which is the difficulty if the woman, in the midst of some kind of coupling, becomes totally vocationally aroused by what she is called to do. It's extremely hard for the man. Extremely hard. And I was writing this chapter, and I thought, well, I'm going to call Gay and Katie Hendricks. They're professionals. They'll know. My question to Gay and Katie was, what happens to the man? When the woman gets completely vocationally aroused, and it's not against him, or to be better than him, or even with him, it actually doesn't have much to do with him, unless he really wants to co-create with her. She yearns for that. But if he doesn't, and then it's really, really a very important question as to what happens to the man. And when I went on this phone call with Gay and Katie Hendricks, I said, you know, tell me what you, they said, that's the very difficult question. Because they said at the cellular level, it's hard for the man to be in the presence of a totally aroused woman, which is vocationally aroused and not sexually aroused. And Katie and Gay said that has not, that there's not a clear path there. It's not to say nobody's worked it out, but it's very, very challenging. And then there's the whole question of what happens to sexuality when the woman is this suprasexually aroused. And I have come up with another really fun phrase. It's called the plight of the lonely sperm. The plight of the lonely sperm. If you think about it, it's a noble, noble creature. And it has a huge mission. I mean, life itself, and it has a target, the egg. Well, 99 out of 100 times, either it hits an empty nest or it's killed. In the developed world where people have a choice. So, I asked the sperm. No, I asked myself. Okay, see, I have an older partner. He's much more sexy than I am. So I'm trying to think of what, first of all, there's all that sperm. Where does it want to go? For what? Noble sperm. And then the other one was, what do I want, really? And I came up with a very interesting insight. I obviously don't want another baby, and I obviously was not that interested in recreational sex. I realized I like to be regenerated. I would like regeneration. Because the creativity really takes time to fully get going. It isn't just about youthing. I don't want to be the way I was at 30. But when I'm like approaching 80 and this creativity is rising, it's not the time. It would be an evolutionary waste of time for me to die right now. Because there's too much experience here that wants to be given more fully. So I asked the noble sperm in a meditation if it has that purpose too. If it can generate life, can it help regenerate? Now, the thing about that question is I don't know the answer, but asking it was very sexy. I found a really good question, because otherwise I wasn't interested in sex. I mean, at my age, it wasn't like I was 25. But it's interesting that men seem to be designed to inseminate, whereas women are one egg at a time. It's a very different situation. So anyway, that is a big chapter. What I realized about this book, and my possible collaborative editor, where is Geraldine? Geraldine, we're going to meet tomorrow and the next day to see how we're going to make this as juicy as possible. But what I really also see is I would love it to be on the internet as questions. Because there's huge experience out there, but it's not yet put in form. It's not yet put as, it's not only, see, I am actually good at making memes, ideas about it. And I have some experience, but the collective experience of the joy of suprasex is a powerful, powerful question. So there's evolutionary coupling, evolutionary spirituality. Tomorrow I'm going to talk really about the evolutionary woman and the evolutionary man in terms of being part of the conscious evolution of humanity at a time of radical transformation. And I would like to go into that tomorrow. And just to conclude here, that I believe that what Lucky and Bonnie and you have done together, yes, is so important because you've named something that had no name. And I'm one who loves to give names to things, like regenopause or suprasex. So having named evolutionary women and bringing us together under this, and for me as having lived through this as a pioneer, and now finding so many of you, it's a celebration of great joy for me. It is really a great moment of joy. To be with you, to appreciate you, to learn from you. Because you're going to know a lot more about this than I did. But I can create a framework for the questions. That's what I'd like to do. And thank you very much.